You ever go out to eat with friends or maybe family and there's that awkward pause when the check comes? Or maybe it's when the server first comes up and says, one bill or break it up. I had a situation back a few years ago before we had moved to Michigan where we went out to eat with a bunch of friends. We were back visiting in the area. And when it came time to pay, I asked for my bill. And the server said, oh, it's been taken care of. I said, well, how's it's been taken care of? They just left it at that and wouldn't give me any more information. I said, okay, well, I investigated it and eventually found out later that a friend of mine, Bob, from high school, had paid for my check. He had taken care of it. Well, Paul had a situation kind of like that. It wasn't eating at a restaurant, but it was a little larger bill. It took place because of a journey. It was there because of a journey he was on. It starts back when he was arrested, which, isn't a common thing for Paul. And he was about to be flogged. And I want to read Acts chapter 22, starting in verse 25. It says, as they stretched him out to flog him, Paul said to the centurion standing there, is it legal for you to flog a Roman citizen who has been found guilty? When the centurion heard this, he went to the commander and reported it. What are we going to do? He asked. This man is a Roman citizen. The commander went to Paul and asked, tell me, are you a Roman citizen? Yes, I am, he answered. Then the commander said, I had to pay a big price for my citizenship, but I was born a citizen, Paul replied. Those who were about to question him withdrew immediately. The commander himself was alarmed when he realized that he had been put Paul, a Roman citizen, in chains. Roman citizens had rights. And Paul was saying, hey, I'm a Roman citizen. Is it right to flog me? Well, he's still under arrest, and he's been moved to Caesarea. But now they want to move him back to Jerusalem. The Jews do, because they've got a plan to attack and kill him on the journey. Well, let me read in chapter 25. I'm going to read starting in verse 9 there. Festus, wishing to do the Jews a favor, said to Paul, are you willing to go to Jerusalem and stand trial before me there on these charges? Paul answered, I am now standing before Caesar's court, where I ought to be tried. I have not done anything wrong to the Jews, as you yourself know very well. If, however, I am guilty of doing anything deserving death, I do not refuse to die. But if the charges brought against me by the Jews are not true, no one has a right to hand me over to them. I appeal to Caesar. He appeals to Caesar. He says, if I have done anything wrong, I'm a Roman citizen, I appeal to Caesar. Well, fast forward to last week, and we know that Paul stood before Agrippa and was talking about not only Agrippa, but all that here become what Paul was, except for the change. Well, Agrippa finds nothing wrong with him. Chapter 26, I'll read verse starting in 31. They left the room, that's Agrippa and Festus, and while talking with one another, they said, this man is not doing anything that deserves death or imprisonment. Agrippa said to Festus, this man could have been set free if he had not appealed to Caesar. Because of his appeal, Paul is being sent to Rome. Let's go back a couple chapters to chapter 19. Paul is in Ephesus. Here in Ephesus, I want to read verse 21. After all this had happened, Paul decided to go to Jerusalem, passing through Macedonia and Achaia. After I've been there, he said, I must visit Rome also. One last passage. Fast forward. Fast forward to chapter 28, verse 16. When we got to Rome, Paul was allowed to live by himself with a soldier to guard him. We know in chapter 27 and 28 about the shipwreck. He's on Malta. We know all the things that God did through Paul. But if you think about it, who picked up the tab for Paul to preach in Rome? Was it the Roman government? Yeah. See, we get worried, and I'm the worst at that at times. We need to step back and realize who is in control. life, yeah, it's not easy at times. It doesn't go smooth. It's not what we want. But God is always there. God is in control. And he ultimately picked up the tab with his son as he died on that cross. So next time you go out to a restaurant or you order takeout or you go for ice cream, when the bill is being paid, remember the ultimate bill has already been paid, and rejoice.